everyone, and welcome to the Arrow After Show. We are back after a small little hiatus. That's right. I am Kaori Takee, and I've got some great friends with me. I've got Ann Campea.
Hey, everybody. Ready to hood up and talk about this episode?
And Michael Medina.
It feels great to be back. Oliver, you don't want that job. I'm going to take it from you.
All right, and right here, David Griffin.
And I'm here shooting my arrow into the clouds, into nothing, and just going off into the clouds because I'm Oliver Queen. That's what I do.
And you guys go ahead throughout this episode as well as throughout the week. Go ahead and tweet us, #ArrowAfterShow for comments and questions. And we'll be taking your comments and questions, and we will be answering them a little bit later on during the show. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to give away some of our positives and some of our negatives. But before we do that, just our overall thoughts of this episode, The Offer.
I enjoyed it. It's an interesting episode. It's setting up a lot. I think it's moving the series forward. This is definitely a setup episode. The show is going in a million different directions. That could be good, that could be bad, but we're seeing where everybody is right now, where everybody's going to go. And I thought it was a pretty strong episode. I think maybe sometimes there's too much going on the screen, but I thought it was good overall. I enjoyed it.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to lie. I thought it was not the strongest episode that I've ever watched, obviously, but I would say that I felt like there was a little too much going on, and I just wish that I had more understanding of what was happening throughout the episode, you know?
Yeah. I totally agree. I think coming back from a 3-week break, was it? You guys?
3 weeks, yeah.
3 weeks,
yeah.
like, I don't know why I always have this expectation that we're gonna come back with a bang, and
Yeah.
it was an okay episode. It wasn't my favorite episode per se, but I agree with you, Kaori. I think it felt a lot of very disjointed,
A little clustery.
and maybe that's because of the break. I don't know, but yeah, it was okay.
No, it's definitely all over the place, but I think they're definitely setting up for something bigger. I mean, we've got about, don't quote me here, what, 5 to 7 episodes left, roughly. So we see like everything's getting set, and we'll get into that later on. But they're definitely setting the stage for something bigger. So I'm excited.
Yeah, definitely. So why don't we get into some of our positives, because as always, Arrow has many of them. So let's talk about them. And let's start over here with my boy, David.
I want to start talking about something called potential. The dangerous thing. That's a dangerous word.
That's what you tell somebody when they're failing.
No, potential, because something good I think is about to happen. I think the show, there's some rumors about Arrow right now. There's rumors.
Oh,
There are rumors. Please share. Share, David.
I'll share some of these rumors. Red Arrow, you know, he could be gone. Either there's a Teen Titans show starting up on TNT. We don't know this for sure. Maybe he could go to Teen Titans. We could leave the show, which would be okay. And you know, you have all the spin-off shows starting.
Sure.
You have the Atom, all this stuff happening. So you have the stuff with Felicity and all that. And it's like, I think once these characters kind of go their own way, I think then Arrow will have time to breathe. And I can see it happening right now. I think you see Oliver contemplating his future and what he's going to do. And then you see everybody else doing what they're doing. I think they're all about to go their own way. I think that's going to give the show some room to breathe when that happens.
Okay, all right. What else?
I love Ray Shogul.
Yeah.
He's the man. I mean, that dude, he carries himself so well. I love when he's walking around in Nana Parbat. He's just kind of he's just walking heavy.
Yeah.
Really heavy,
Yeah.
really slow, really deliberate. Like you can just feel the age on him, even though he looks like he's maybe in his 40s or
Yeah,
something
I
like that.
saw you biting your bottom lip when he was walking
Oh, yeah,
around.
well, that's good. I'm not gonna hate. He looks good. He's looking good in that outfit. He looks good.
I don't know.
He's a great actor,
Yeah.
and going back to what you said, he's great, and I love that. But back to what you said about like setting everything up. Again, like I said, they're doing a good job in setting stuff up with Ray Palmer, with Roy, the possibility, and that brings up a good question. If Roy leaves the show, if he goes over to, is it TNT, I believe?
Yeah, TNT,
the
yeah,
Teen
Teen
Titans and
yeah.
stuff. Does that mean that show exists in this universe? Because it would have to.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, isn't that the one with Black Canary as well? I mean,
No,
Well, no,
that's
that's
the
the
CW
spin-off.
spin-off.
So that'll be something entirely
that's
different.
the confusion I'm having right
Yeah.
there, because
Right.
there's a lot
Yeah,
happening.
that's
All right.
something entirely different. But if he goes there, that just makes the world even bigger. And that's the thing. That's one of the things I do love about Arrow is that's kind of like ground zero for setting up the DC universe for television. You know what I mean? So they're doing a good job of doing that. So there's a lot going on right now, but I know that they know what they're doing. They're setting everything up,
Sure.
so I can't wait to see what the end game is going to be.
What other positives do you have, Michael?
All right, well, okay, again, I love Malcolm. We talk about him all the time. He's a
best.
great actor.
He
He's a
kinda
great
is the
character. That one line, and we were all laughing. It was like one big happy family.
Oh,
It was
he's
such a
great.
simple line, but delivered in such a Malcolm way.
He's on the couch a lot this week.
He had a very, very easy week in terms
Yeah.
of.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, he did a phenomenal job.
Yeah, he's great.
I'll say.
So it's definitely Malcolm, but I felt that something about Roy this episode
Thank
felt
you.
really good to me.
Oh.
You know, he felt very like he knew his place.
Always
you know.
feels good to me.
What a shocker. No, but I felt like he really knew his place in this episode. He stood firm. There was a nice little scene with him and Thea, you know, getting back together. So I liked Roy in this episode
Why'd
a
you have
lot.
to use those words? But
Sorry to break your heart.
We were joking like when somebody knocked on Roy's door at the very end of that
We knew it was
episode.
going down.
When he was like, "Who is it?" and I was like, "It's Kaori." It's Kaori.
I was like, it was me. Hold on. I'll be back in a flash, and no pun intended. And some positives for you.
I think there were definitely some positives for the episode. I would say Detective Lance, that he continues, actually Captain Lance.
Captain Lance, get
Sorry.
it right. Get it right.
Captain
Yeah.
Lance continues to mourn. I appreciate that they are lengthening his mourning period. That you know, it's very hard to take in that all these people kept the secret of your
Yeah.
daughter being dead.
Because
And
we were
so-
wondering that same thing, like how long is that going to last? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Because
I'm
this
glad
was
they
big.
finally the cat's out of the bag.
Yeah.
Right?
So I'm glad that they're kind of dealing with it in a way that any of us would. You know,
Exactly.
like everybody was lying to you, and now this week we see that he's pissed at the Green Arrow. Or Arrow, and he's just like, I don't want to have anything to do with you. And Laurel tries to reconcile, and the same thing happens. I actually like that they are taking the time to portray that he's being human and he's dealing with these emotions as anyone else would.
I will say that though, that is actually kind of one of my negatives, is that Laurel finally fessed up to him, and she's the only daughter he has left, and he's gonna sit there and say, I can't forgive you. It doesn't feel fatherly to me, and I'm not feeling that.
I
part.
think he'll get there, but I mean, I don't know how much time has passed since he's learned, but it's such a big secret that she kept from him that I could understand that if it takes him a little bit of time to finally come around, I appreciate that.
Okay.
Especially the fact that everyone knew about it except him. That's
Yeah.
got to be hard.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. Especially
That's
since
true.
he technically has been through this already before with Sarah when he thought she was dead.
You can
so
see
yeah.
how it even affected Oliver when he confronted Oliver about like, hey, I know what happened. I mean, Oliver just looked distraught. He looked off. I mean, it's tough news. I just feel bad that the father and daughter, you know, they're kind of there's a little distance right now.
That's all that they have left, essentially. You know, the mother's not around. She's busy in Central City, I believe, and then obviously Sarah's gone. So, anyway, what other positives do you have?
I would say I was never a very hardcore Felicity fan, but now that I don't have it, I'm kind of going that way. You know, it's like something that you want that you don't have. And so when it comes to Felicity, obviously Felicity's with Ray. And so
Yeah.
I appreciate that too, because, you know, it's a very cute relationship. They flirt and it's cute to see on screen. But I still like that her and Oliver have their moments.
Yeah.
Even though, like, we know at this time that they're not going to be together, I like that they still are able to connect.
Yeah.
And she's kind of still that, I don't know, strong force and kind of reasoning for Oliver, even when he knows that they're not together.
That was a great
Okay.
scene when she said, you know, as long as you're in my life,
Yeah.
I'll always be, you know, that's always a good thing.
Sweet.
So I'll
And
be-
you can
always
tell
be
that
happy,
she's
yeah.
still torn. You
Yeah.
know, like she still has feelings for Oliver. So she's not completely on the Ray bandwagon yet. You know, there's something there. So
I think-
Felicity fans, there's still hope.
Of course, there's still hope, but I think she's come to terms with the fact that Oliver basically told her to her face, this can never happen.
Right.
So she's got to move on.
Yeah.
She's got to try to
Yes,
move
she
on. I
does.
mean, there's a chance of him winning her back, but he's got to try harder, guys. Some of my positives, I would say, you guys, Shadow.
Yeah, that was
Shadow. I mean,
Is it Shadow?
I
That
mean,
was a blow my mind moment.
I was really satisfied to see that happen. I don't.
Yes.
Now it's like more questions arise where, wait, Oliver knew Shadow was alive but didn't tell Deathstroke, who killed his mom because of it. That conflicts a lot of things going on.
Gotta assume she's
So-
gonna die again, maybe.
Well, but that's
Like
the thing, though.
before, you know.
But that brings up
Alright,
the question,
maybe.
like, if he did know then that Shadow was still alive, why didn't he tell Deathstroke?
Right.
There has to be a reason why. So there's a bigger mystery here, like why Shadow coming back? It seemed like she was dead, right? I mean, she looked like she was gone. So there's something there. So I'm curious to see what's gonna happen.
Exactly, yeah,
Yeah.
me too. And I would have to say I really do enjoy the fact that we kind of see the the power of Raish or Raj, depending on what option you want to choose.
Which scene you're in.
Yeah, which scene you're in, which actor you want to be. Because he's offering Oliver something, but he's really not giving him an option. And we see that because Oliver decides to reject the offer, but then comes Maceo and says, yo, there's going to be trouble.
Are you threatening me?
There's going to be trouble.
Hey, I'm not threatening you, but Raish is threatening you.
And he's a good threat. He's a really good threat. And we saw the Lassie pit, which was nice.
Finally.
I was like, I want to take a dip
I
in
love
there.
Oliver's second look back at the pit, that's a really nice hot tub. I like that hot
It
tub.
is tempting.
Who cleans
He
it?
thought about it.
Who keeps the candles lit? It's very much like a grotto within Nanda Parbat.
Some candles and it's a nice
Like
place.
lounging.
I
It's a
can make
little
home
sexy.
here. I can
Having a
make home
drink.
here.
Having a drink.
Yeah,
drink,
Raish was
yeah.
like, get in there.
Hey, just fill it out a little bit. Let me
Take it for a test
Take a
ride.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So let's talk about some of our negatives
Yes.
because with a lot of good comes always some bad. So let's start this way over here, Michael.
Yes. Okay. So one of your positives was Shadow, and that was one of my positives. I was happy to see that the flashbacks were pretty weak, right?
Yep.
I mean, I think
Yeah.
obviously it was just to introduce Shadow back into the fold and stuff, so that's fine. But everything leading up to that point was just, it's like, what are they doing here exactly? And it wasn't until we saw Shadow, like, okay, that's why. But it was like, it's kind of just dragging us on. So
I would totally agree with you because there were some moments where I kind of felt like I forgot that there was a backstory to
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. So it's pretty pointless up until the end. And the second, I don't know, I love Thea, and I think that what they've done with Thea was great this season. Like, I actually care a lot about her. Seemed a bit whiny this episode, right?
Thank
a
you.
little bit. Like, she
Thank
seemed
you.
like an entirely different character. I get what she's going through. That's tough. That's a bitch. You know what I mean?
sure.
But she was just like, oh, kill me, and I hate you, Malcolm, and I want to kill you. It's just like, it just got old.
She felt like the old brat Thea from season 1.
little bit,
Yeah,
Which
yeah.
I felt like she developed
She
already.
showed a lot of
and then-
maturity the last couple weeks. I think she's
Yes.
grown a lot,
Absolutely.
actually. Yeah.
And then she kind of like went backwards, which I understand. But then, I mean, come on, like your father trained you to be a little more stronger. Don't go back and sleep with my Roy, okay?
That's why you're mad. Not even.
Somebody's jealous. Somebody's jealous. She just wanted to be. She wants somebody to hold her. That's all.
You know, I'm just
Somebody
saying, Roy's my boo. You know? All right, David.
So I mean, here at the Stream.tv, there's a lot of after shows, a lot of superhero shows right now. You have Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you got The Flash right now, Arrow. Every show is a little bit different. Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., a little bit lighter. It's getting darker, I guess, like you've been telling me there. You have Flash, much more lighthearted.
Yeah.
Arrow's a darker show, I think, of all of them.
For sure.
And one of the things that's tough to balance, my weakness is Laurel this weekend. And it's because this weekend.
This weekend.
This weekend.
What's
I'm
your
ready.
weekend?
Yeah, I'm
5 days
ready.
ago. 5 days ago. No. It's just the fact that her and her father couldn't make peace, and because he was saying that he loves her and everything, and that it was hard.
Yeah, no, that was one of my negatives.
It was hard because I mean, it's like you love your daughter. She's like, I love you. I'll never stop loving you, but I can't forgive you. That was hard to watch.
Yeah.
It was a tough scene. I actually felt for the relationship between them. So I mean, I guess I can't call it a weakness because I thought
Yeah, I was like,
it was
it's
well
effective.
acted.
It's
It was
effective.
well written. It's just, but for me, it was tough to watch.
Yeah, that's. some of
I've been
my
on Team
negatives as
Laurel
well.
last year. I'm all for her. So
Well,
I'm-
you hung out with us this weekend apparently. That
I
week.
know this weekend. I watched this episode 3 days ago. I'm just joking. Yeah.
Any other negatives?
I would have to agree with the flashbacks. Just a little bit too short for me this week. I want a little more story. This show is doing so much, and for most of the time they do a great job. It's a fantastic show, well written. The action sequences are awesome. It's just we had this villain, we had a murmur, with the his mouth was taped. I mean, all this stuff was going on. Sometimes it's hard to keep track of everything. So I think maybe once these characters kind of go out and do their own thing, I think it'll be better.
Do you guys think they kind of screwed themselves by setting up all of the episodes to always have flashbacks running through them?
That's a good question. I
Yeah.
think it's essential to have some kind of flashbacks because we don't want to forget about them because we almost did in this particular
Yeah.
episode. You know what I mean?
Well, there's they set up a lot. I mean, there's a lot that supposedly happened on the island or now in Hong Kong or wherever. So that's a big part of the show. And that's one of the things that they've always done really well in balancing like present day and the flashbacks. I think this episode they kind of maybe missed the mark a little bit, but I get what they were doing. They were trying to set up Shadow's return, and that was big. When we saw it, we were just like, whoa, everybody thought she was dead. So that was cool. It's just the way they went about it. I think they could have done a little bit better. But for the most part, they do a good job.
Okay. I would say that a couple of my negatives is, as much as I love this show, obviously, super fans, all of us over here,
For sure.
I would say there was a little campiness in it. One, Arrow. He shot an arrow out into the moon and flew up
We couldn't see
into
the building.
nowhere.
Yeah, we couldn't see
Like,
the building.
where
Flew off
did
into the
he
darkness
go?
and was gone.
We were
and-
all cracking up.
Yeah, it was
That was funny. That was
strangeness
good.
there, and also the fight scene where Laurel was almost about to get hit by a van, and I felt like the van slowed down specifically for Oliver to go pick her up
Yeah.
and rise her back up.
She was kind of like paddling her feet as she was going
Yeah, it was like, kick
Cute.
two.
It's like,
Yeah.
note to self, if you're trying to take down a bad guy, do not announce yourself.
Yeah.
Don't say like, hey, and then some guy turns on you.
Hey,
Yeah,
stop right
don't
there.
announce yourself. Yeah.
That's one of the things I've always loved about the show. I think they do action really well.
Yeah.
Like the
Yes.
choreography is so great.
Yes.
So that I think the action scenes later in the episode were really well done, but
Exactly.
that scene was a little like, they could do better.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. The fight sequence with when Nyssa came in and everything, that was great. But then
Yeah.
that half of that action sequence was just strange.
A little
to me. Like,
sloppy.
what was happening?
Yeah.
All right, Anne.
Okay, my negatives have to do with the Al Ghul family. Sorry, don't come after me. I know you guys are crazy.
Coming
but,
after you.
While I love seeing both, Roz and Nyssa on the episode, I think some of the storyline is just not translating with me. Like the fact that Nyssa is now besties with Laurel, it's kind of weird to me. I like the fact that potentially we will
Yeah.
see Nyssa training Laurel. That will kind of relieve all of us of like, why is Laurel trying to be this badass?
But why
Like,
is it so easy?
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just a little odd that she decided to show up in Starling. I know there's the affiliation with Sarah being from there, and she loves Sarah, but it's just a little weird to me, a little
Yeah.
disjointed to
It's a
me.
quick transition.
Yeah. Oh, I can't help but think. I mean, that family is batshit crazy, right? We can all
sure.
agree.
Yeah.
So I can't help but wonder if, well, maybe she's got some ulterior motive. Maybe there's a reason why she's like, hey, girl, do you want to go train, girl?
It's
You know,
called
like-
I Want to Bone You.
It might be a little bit of that. It might be a little bit of that. But that's definitely out of character for her. So only for her to
Right.
just go from opposite ends of the spectrum, that's maybe she's got something up her sleeve.
Yeah, I mean, I like seeing Nyssa vulnerable, but not that vulnerable,
Yeah.
right? She's supposed to be a badass. She's supposed to kick ass. And
Yeah.
so when she's there and she's just like, hey, Laurel, let's hang out. Weird.
Yeah.
And she's in her casual outfit. I'm like, I don't think I've ever seen her dressed in just casual gear.
Yeah. Yeah. What else, Anne?
My other negative would be maybe some of your positives, which is Ra's al Ghul showing up in the Arrow suit. It's a little weird that
That was
he was
awkward,
able
Turtle.
to show up
A little bit.
and fit into Oliver's. No, I'm just joking. Is there like a suit store somewhere? I don't know,
Yeah,
but I know he has an agenda, and I know what he's trying to do, which is really cool in terms of like what his motivation is. But
Yeah.
I didn't really like seeing him in the suits.
See, I completely agree with you because I feel like Ra's al Ghul is he's a very strong character. He's like the kind of character that teeter-totters between is he bad or good, but he's kind of both, you know? And he's sitting there being like, I am going to deceive Starling City, make them think that I'm Arrow and be bad.
Yeah.
It's like, what is happening?
Like he has nothing better to do.
Yeah,
It
well,
was
that's the thing.
strange.
He's such a strong, powerful character that he doesn't need to actually get his own hands dirty. He doesn't have to do
Yeah,
something. Like I could
exactly.
see him like hiring one of his, like sending was it Maceo? I could see
Maceo?
him
Yeah.
doing something, like
Yeah,
sending
sure.
him to do that,
Right.
but not doing it himself.
Let alone
That's
he left his like humble abode and the nice little spa right there to go dress up and just deceive everybody. It was
Yeah.
just a little strange.
Hard for me to buy
Yes.
that he would do that.
All right, guys, let's move on to some questions and comments that we're going to be taking from you. Don't forget, #ArrowAfterShow is the way to go for those questions and comments, and Anne will be
Yes.
monitoring.
I will be butchering your name, so I apologize ahead of
Let's
time.
do this.
The Arsenal 116 asks, since we were introduced to Hive in season 2, do you think Hive will appear in season 3?
Ooh, that's interesting. I almost forgot about them.
Yeah,
That was
exactly.
a while back.
I think there's definitely a chance. They always bring back characters that
Yeah.
we seem to kind of forget because now there's so many, including Amanda Waller. So yes, I think Hive will make some kind of.
Yeah, well, there's so much going on right now. Yeah, we've got we had Deathstroke, one Deathstroke episode. Hopefully he'll come back.
More.
Yeah.
And then with Raish, Ross, however you decide to call his name, and stuff, all that's going on and stuff. I mean, maybe next season. Maybe
Yeah.
next season.
Yeah, that's the beauty of the show, right? Like you said, Corey, is that they introduce all of these elements to it that they can bring back in season 10 or they can bring back in the next episode.
I mean, Shadow.
I wouldn't be
No.
surprised.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Back.
I'm sure Hive will come back. I don't know, though. Do you guys think it will be this season?
I don't think it'll be this season. I think they're probably doing too much right now. They have way too much
Yeah.
they're juggling.
Okay.
So I hope we see them next year. Or not next season, because we're already in this year. So next fall. I think it's going to be too much to bring them in this season. There's already too much going on right now.
All right. And
All right. Next question is from Goddessinas14, who asks, what do you think Oliver connected his arrow to when he left the police station? He looks like he shot into the air.
that's what we were
That's what we
saying.
said,
We were saying the moon.
Yeah.
D-A-O.
makes
Hey,
sense.
but he made it look good.
He
He
did.
made
I
it
don't-
look good.
I mean, yeah, he made it look good, and I don't mind watching him go away. That's what I'm saying. So
And he has
it's
to say
fine.
something epic. I mean, he says, I think he's talking to Captain.
Yes,
Captain
Captain.
Lance.
Get it
saying,
right.
That's not why I do this. And then just going off. I mean, that's what Batman does.
Yeah, I was going to say,
He's
it's very
Batman, so that's what he
Batman-esque.
does. Yeah, he's
Yes.
Batman, yeah.
Yeah, but there was like no building inside. You
No,
know, but
no.
What do you think?
I don't know. It looked like he was in the It almost looked like he was just flying, just soaring out into the skies, just a little, with his little like Batman voice. And we were joking, we were laughing. This was great. It was great because I loved it. But like when he sees Felicity in the office, and he's still kind of using that Arrow voice. It's like, hey, what are you calling Roy? Hey, what are you doing? It's like, you forgot to take off your little
Broke
voice.
character. He's like, oh, sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
that was great.
But that was funny though.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
All right, next question is from My Arrow World, who asks, hi guys, what do you think about Felicity's scenes this episode? The most handsome head of the demon. I'm happy if you are in my life, which is one of the quotes.
what did I miss? Okay, head of the demon. My world is going somewhere else. So you guys go ahead.
Well, first of all,
she looked at him, right?
I'd like
Said
to think
that.
that I'm the most handsome head of the demon.
You're pretty
First-
handsome.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you. No, but it was a good thing. It's something you brought up earlier. That's a good point. It's just like, the fact that, like, again, she still has these feelings. She cares for him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's not going to go away. Whether or not Felicity actually becomes a thing or not, I hope it does. We'll see. But no, again, it's like, the Ray thing is there. Those are fun scenes.
Right.
So it's going to be interesting. But yeah, I mean, there's something still there. It's not going to go away.
I definitely like the tug and pull of Felicity and how it's like so close but yet so far away, and that'll never happen. And I think that keeps the essence of Felicity.
Yes.
And I think that keeps us going. So I'm happy with
I
that.
think you're forgetting that, Felicity's she's kind of a pimp right now. She could have any guy that she wants. She can even go to the Flash.
Barry Allen.
right.
Yeah.
Forgot about that.
Barry Allen's like my heart's to someone else, but I would bone you. So I don't know.
She could have Barry, she could have Oliver. She has options.
Yeah.
Sky's the limit for her. She's doing great right now.
Right?
And I think it also shows like a sign of how much the characters have matured, right?
Sure,
If this was a Felicity or the Olicity, the two of them, in season 1, I don't know that it would be the same thing.
Sure.
If she was
I
seeing
agree.
somebody else, I think Oliver might react a little differently. So it's nice to see that they're able to exist when she's with somebody else, and he understands that he can't be with her right now.
If this were season 1, he probably would have snapped their neck.
Right.
Back when he was still killing.
All right, let's take 2 more.
All right, so AJ, actually, he wants me to say his Twitter handle, so it's TI Gurger.
Wait, did he say I want you to take my Twitter handle? All right, guys, Tigger.
Yes, there you go. Asks, who do you think Nyssa will side with when her father and Oliver face off at the end of the season?
Whatever makes her, whatever's for the greater good of Nyssa, I'll go. That's what I'm going to say.
That's what I was gonna say. I think maybe that her being out of character, what we're all noticing right now, is true. I think Nissa's maybe she could be playing Laurel right now.
She has an ulterior motive, definitely.
Because she's almost too nice and too welcoming. That's not who she is. So we're all kind of taken aback by that. I think she has something. A little
I think
ulterior
they're
motive
going to get kinky a little bit, not going to lie.
It's a
A little
CW, though. We gotta
something.
keep it. Gotta
Little
keep
something,
it.
something. No, I think she's going to side with Team Nyssa. She's going to do what's best in her own
Exactly.
interest. You know what I mean? Because it's like, and this is like, and I knew this, we all knew this was going to happen. Like, when Oliver was offered the position of being the new Ross or Raish, whatever, and stuff, you knew that this is something she had been groomed for her whole life. So the fact that she wasn't offered it, she was going to be pissed. So in the end, I think she definitely has hatred towards her father and towards Oliver. And in the end, she's going to be like, I'm looking after me.
I know, not to hate, but the whole time I'm thinking, like, it would be Talia over you,
I know.
I mean, I'm just saying.
But we don't speak of
Unfortunately,
Talia.
I love Talia. I love
Who knows?
Talia.
She could just pop up
awesome.
in some scene somewhere and just show up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
That would be cool. I'd
Wouldn't
be
it
down
be
for that.
crazy if towards the end of the season, we find out Ra's al Ghul, the reason why he did all of this is that he just wanted Nyssa to prove herself as worthy to take the throne.
Like Thor.
He's so crazy that I could see that happening.
Yeah.
Totally.
All right, guys. Well, we have run out of time, but thank you so much for tuning in to the Arrow After Show. Continue all week long to send us questions and comments because we love hearing from you guys, and we love to keep the conversation going at hashtag Arrow After Show on Twitter, as well as YouTube on thestream.tv. And in the meantime, you can follow us. We're at Michael Medina.
Well, you can follow me on Twitter at Mr. Michael Alexis. Also, you can find myself and David on Think Hero Pro on YouTube. Also, if you guys like sports, the hottest sports segment on all of the internet would be 3 Minute Warning right here on thestream.tv.
That's right. That's good. Yes, and Ann.
You guys can follow me at Ann Campea as well as Kaori and I at Team Amazing. And just so you guys know, we won the competition.
That's fair. You can laugh all you want because it's the truth. And where can they follow you, David?
Follow me on Twitter at GriffinDE, and I also accompany Michael here at the Stream.tv, as he said, on 3 Minute Warning, new sports show. Check it out. And yeah.
Accompany. All right, all right. What was that word that you learned today watching Arrow, by the way?
Augury or something.
Augury.
Yes.
It means destiny. We have a
You can always
destiny
learn
here.
a little something.
Word of the
Means
week,
destiny,
guys.
yeah.
Let's use that once
Yes.
this week so you guys add that to your vocabulary. And I am Kaori Takee, and you can find me at KAORIOUS on Twitter as well as Instagram. There is a video on YouTube /Team Amazing where we shoot a lot of things, and you can watch our competition and watch us kick their asses in arcade, bowling, as well as mini golf.
I don't know about kicking our asses.
That
I don't know about
happened
all
right
that.
there, and we will catch you guys very, very soon, meaning next week, for another Arrow After Show. Thank you guys so much for tuning in for the Stream.tv. We'll catch you guys later. Hey guys, for more of the Arrow After Show and other great after shows, click on subscribe for the Stream.tv.